Hoops talk for the streets.
Let's get right into this action, man. So you know what time it is. It's time how we start off each and every episode. Coppin' the Droppin' segment. Each one is always catered to my guests. And me and my man Zach here have had plenty of conversations about James Harden. So I definitely had to use him for my Coppin' the Droppin'. So we know the Nets, obviously championship contenders, had a semi-slow start to the season. They found their little groove now, are now top 2 in the East. KD is leading the league in scoring with 29. Harden's numbers are slightly down this season, but he's still adjusting to the new rules. Kyrie's status is still unclear on when and if he's playing. Even with all that being said, expectations don't change for the Brooklyn Nets as it's chip or bust since these three came together last season. So Zach, talk to me. Coppin' or dropping this take? If the Nets don't win the title this season, James Harden trade should be considered a bust. Coppin' or dropping?
Ooh, that's just a hard hitter right off the bat.
Right off the bat, talk to me.
Yeah, so simple math, simple answer. If Kyrie shows up just any time before the playoffs, if he's a full go, yes, it's I'm dropping it all day. I mean, it's brutal out here, but he's got to play. I mean, it's a talented East. Everybody's getting better. You got teams like the Chicago Bulls right now gelling, looking like chemistry is as good as it ever could be. And then you got one of their best players that have, I don't know, Vooch is probably playing 70% right now. And I feel like they got a long ways to go. And the Bucks are just a sleeping giant right now, coasting. And exactly. So I think the Nets can win with or without Kyrie. Don't get me wrong. And I think they can win exactly as they are playing right now. Don't get me wrong. But because I don't think there's that great of a team right now. From what we know, the facts that we know, I don't think there's one true team out there that looks a lot better than what this Nets product do right now. But it always looks different come June. That's a guarantee. But yeah, I mean, I think the Nets are trending the right way. They've won, 6 out of 7 right now?
Yep. Top 2 in the East now.
Yeah, you take out that last game, James Harden in his last 9 before that last one, he's averaging literally 21 points, 9 assists, 8 rebounds, a steal, a block, shooting 47, 46, and 84 from the line.
He's been playing much better lately. Yes, he has. This one was a tough one for me because it can go plenty of ways depending on how you look at the roster and depending on what you expect of this Brooklyn Nets roster. But for me in particular, I'm going to cop this. This because if they don't win the title, I'm going to consider it a bust because that's what you brought James Harden here for. You brought James Harden here. Last couple of years, we know James Harden has always been on a championship contending team. You know about him in his years with CP. They were almost there. They should have won one of those years, but they almost got there. Getting here now, being here on the East Coast with the Brooklyn Nets. Some people look at him as the second option with Kyrie. Some people look at him as the third option with Kyrie, depending on how you're looking at it. And some people consider James Harden to be more of a facilitator for this particular team. But for me, I'm going to cop this because of the young pieces that they gave up to bring in James Harden. Now, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. We talked about Jarrett Allen. You had a good tweet about Jarrett Allen. And we said, I forgot what it exactly was, but I remember I responded to it that, look at me, I'm forgetting what I that
all good.
That they gave up too much. I don't know if they gave up too much or something about Jarrett Allen combined or whatever the case may be. But to me, basically, they gave up on a lot of young pieces to bring James Harden in, giving up Jarrett Allen, Levert Dinwiddie as well. They had to let go of him to go to Washington. And then now, when you look at the end of the year, we know Harden declined his extension. He can opt out to become, I believe it's unrestricted in 2022 at the end of the year. I believe it's unrestricted. So
yes,
he has a big decision to make, and the team also as well. So I'm going to say for this particular question, I'm going to cop this because I feel like they have to win the title this year or else James will be looking elsewhere. And maybe, I think he might, you know what? I think Philly's going to come after him strong, and he's going to have a real tough decision to make this summer.
That's you're copping with or without Kyrie either way?
I think Kyrie honestly is going to end up playing by the end of the season.
Yeah, I think he'll be playing.
He's going to play, so that's why I'm copping, because I'm hoping also that he's going to be there.
I commend anybody making a prediction on whatever Kyrie Irving's going to do. I will never do it again. Like, that guy's about as wild card as they get. So
that's true.
I'm just only going to look at the Nets for what they are now. I don't even look at Kyrie being a part of the organization like they are. So it is what it is. But I found that tweet on Jarrett Allen, and I said, through 7 games, Jarrett Allen is looking closer to the value of his contract than Michael Porter Jr., D'Lo, Duncan Robinson, Jaren Jackson Jr., KP, and many more.
And listen, I'm a big fan of Jarrett Allen, so I think, to me, they still haven't.
That was 9 games.
Yeah, and they still haven't found a replacement, an adequate replacement for Jarrett Allen. I know they're using the corpse of Blake Griffin they're using at the center spot right now, using LaMarcus Aldridge, who both have been playing pretty admirably this season and last season and postseason, aside from Aldridge, of course. Nick Claxton has been trying to step into that role. But to me, if they had a guy like Jarrett Allen, I felt, me personally, before they got James Harden, I felt they had enough with those young pieces, with Kyrie added to Dinwiddie coming back. We see what he's looking like now. To me personally, I felt like they had enough, especially to run the East.
That's a hot take. I definitely, I'd have to think hard on that one for a little bit, just because Karis LeVert's about as reliable as Kyrie. That guy can't stay healthy for his life. There's bad luck. He got cancer. Shit.
Yeah, the
guy's got the worst luck you can imagine. But I personally think it was worth the risk, because that core, with or without KD, they promised KD they were going to be star hunting. You know that when they signed him. He might have gone to the Knicks if he didn't, or somewhere else. But he got Kyrie, and I'm sure I wonder what his thoughts on Kyrie are.
I know, right?
He's been very diplomatic about that. So honestly, you're right. Jarrett Allen would be the biggest key, and he'd be way more valuable than Joe Harris. I think, especially if you have Kyrie as the shooter. But they kept Joe Harris. It is what it is. They could use Joe Harris to go get somebody like a Jarrett Allen. Maybe Cleveland ends up really liking Mobley, and they want to move Jarrett Allen again. Never know.
That could happen too.
Exactly. That's a great tradable contract that everybody needs a Joe Harris. So that's something to consider. But honestly, you're right. I think the only thing this team right now is missing is that center position and that big man, rim protector. And defensively, I'm very pleased with what they're doing.
Much better.
They're a top 10 defense right now. You can argue top 4, top 3. The numbers say they're number 5 right now is the hard numbers defensive rating. But I'm going to trust these guys, and KD, I don't think he's given 100% on defense. And KD, it's like
on offense right now.
He's got to work very hard. But they're incredibly deep on offense, and I'm not worried about it. It's just crazy how low scoring everybody is in the league right now. You looked at what they did last year, and their points per game is down a shit ton.
Yeah, remember their strategy last year was to outscore every team they played against. So this year they have made a more of a concerted effort on the defensive end. So I'm actually very impressed by what I've seen with the Nets thus far, other than their semi-slow start, because it wasn't really a slow start. It was just they had a bunch of nonsense talking about the new rules. So let's move on.